Hey, greetings from Texas. Thought I'd come back and do another different video, story time video about my past. I had some responses on my last one about my weightlifting activities. So I thought I'd go ahead and talk about my law enforcement career. I got a request from Ray, a YouTuber. His channel is The World's Fastest Tube. I'll put a link down in the description. Ray's a really interesting guy who I've gotten to know. He's a wealth of knowledge. He kind of reminds me of me in a way. He's got a great sense of humor. And anyway, check out his channel. So he said he wanted to hear some more stories, so let's give it a shot. In 1979, I said goodbye to Uncle Sam. I moved back to California and joined a gym. There I met some police officers. I was working for United Airlines at the time, making some pretty good money. Welding, that was my original vocation. Anyway, they talked me into testing, and there were 1,500 applicants for 14 job openings, and I made it. So I found myself in the law enforcement profession. During my time in law enforcement, I spent about 8 years total in patrol, 3 years in detectives, a little over 8 years on the SWAT team, and pretty much for over 23 years I was part of the training staff. So I trained new and veteran officers on the street in tactics, firearms, arrest techniques, and building searches. Highlights of my career were being on the SWAT team. Number one, just getting selected is a process. The way our team was structured, it was one of the assignments that was lifetime for as long as you wanted to do it. And ultimately, during the selection process, the people on the team vote who they want. So you're in a unique situation there, because that means that your peers have a pretty good opinion of you. The other thing I really loved was being a motor cop. I spent 13 years getting paid to ride a motorcycle, and there were days I just couldn't believe they gave me a gun and a motorcycle and were giving me a paycheck every month. Toward the end of my career, I was a traffic specialist. I was the lead motorcycle instructor for our agency. We operated 22 Harley-Davidson motorcycles in our unit. My duties were to investigate or oversee the investigation of all the fatal traffic collisions in our jurisdiction. I was one of 2 officers that did that. So I saw a lot of carnage, had to go to the autopsies, and we would reconstruct the accidents. We treated all fatals like a homicide investigation, and then we would do math to figure out exactly what happened in a collision. I also, toward the end of my career, was an expert witness in traffic accident reconstruction, firearms, and drug influence, and I would contract out, do some work on the side, testifying as an expert witness. Have a lot of stories. I will tell you one story because ultimately people want to know if you ever shot anybody. No, I never shot anyone during my career. Did I pull my gun out? Were there situations? Yes, there was. I did, however, I was the tear gas guy on the SWAT team, along with being a sniper. So I did tear gas a few houses, which was always interesting. But I'm going to tell you a story. There were 3 incidents in my career where I was justified in shooting, but the way the situations evolved, there was just not enough time. So it ended up being basically hand-to-hand fight. So on this one particular case, I had received a call. It was a domestic violence. A gentleman had violated his restraining order, broke into his estranged wife's house, took some items, and then left. So while I'm taking a report, I put out a broadcast. He was a white male, 5'10", medium build, was wearing blue jeans and a blue down vest. I sent an officer to his house. He was living with his parents at the time. He wasn't there. So I finished my report and headed over to his parents to see if I could find out some more information. So it was about 1:30 in the morning. As I'm driving toward his parents' home, I see him in the dark alley behind a strip mall. So I pull up, and there's not, if there's somebody out past 1 o'clock in the evening, they're usually not up to any good. Most people work, and especially on a weeknight. So as a police officer, automatically the hair goes up on the back of your neck, or you get more suspicious of people out at that time. Anyway, I positioned my patrol car about 10 feet away from him. He had his hands in his blue down vest. Sorry, I got no seams here. And I walked up. As I walked up, I had my flashlight in my gun hand. I carried a 5-cell aluminum flashlight, and it was pretty sturdy. It's called a mag light. Anyway, as I'm approaching him, I went to frisk him, and I grabbed his right hand, which was inside his vest, with my left hand, and I immediately felt the gun. He tried to pull his gun out, but I clamped onto it, trapping his hand in his vest, and I came down with my flashlight right on the top of his head and knocked him out. I later learned that he was intending to do a suicide by cop thing, but fortunately for him, I foiled his plans. Anyway, he got transported to the hospital, got some stitches. Never heard about what happened with him or whatnot. He pled out for assaulting a peace officer resisting arrest. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that story, and I'll show you some pictures here of some moments from my career. Anyway, I appreciate you stopping by, and hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. you.